This presidential debate will be the most extreme contrast that we've ever had. Right brain versus left brain, gut versus any part of the brain at all. Instinct versus experience. And of course, at the most primal level, woman versus man. The best way to judge presidential debates is just to turn the sound off and watch their body language, watch how they react. There's a long, long saga of the images from debates mattering more than anything else.
Human rights and freedom.
When John Kennedy and Richard Nixon debated,
only you can decide what you want this country to be.
John Kennedy, in an elegant dark suit. He was a remarkably handsome person who was at his handsome best. And poor Nixon, he was wearing this horrible sort of light-colored, light gray suit with a matching gray tie. He was sweaty. He looked like hell. This year will be more unusual than most. Donald Trump's entire approach to debates has been not simply that I win, but that I humiliate you. The most useful visual cue was a famous WWE clip between Trump and Vince McMahon. There was a bet, and Trump's wrestler won, and he took Vince McMahon into the ring, put his head in a headlock, and shaved his head in something that you could only see as sort of a prison-style emasculation. And any viewer that sees that clip and then goes back and watches the Republican primary debates will see this same impulse of domination and humiliation. In a 10-person debate, it's like a giant panel show.
You said you're a liberal on healthcare.
Excuse me, let me talk.
Talk away.
Everybody is scrambling for airtime. So he stood up there, taller than everybody else except Jeb Bush, who sort of held himself in a slouch. But he could look down on Little Marco and Chevy Chris and Lying Ted and all the rest of these people. He won that primal battle for airtime. He then could sort of tune out and go into hibernation almost when the topic turned to things that didn't interest him.
Disperse money because they go after disaffected individuals from all.
And that allowed him to win.
They are able to pay them. That makes a difference.
What's fascinating is the contrast between what got him here and what lies ahead in these head-to-head presidential debates. Domination and humiliation. It's much harder to do against a woman who arguably is at her best when being attacked by men. The Benghazi hearings.
Would you want to talk to the author of that email?
Hillary Clinton, with a bring it on boys expression on her face, just batted back these insulting questions from Trey Gowdy and the other members of the commission.
Witness you were referring to did appear before Congress.
That was not my point. My point.
But your implication was
the dynamic that was so successful for Trump in the primaries may be exactly the one that would cause him problems in the head-to-head debates. Another aspect, in multiplayer debates, the time seems to go very quickly. You're trying to get your hand up, to get the teacher to recognize you, to have your say. In head-to-head debates, you have to fill 2 minutes on how you're going to create jobs, or how you're going to deal with the Middle East, or how you're going to deal with nuclear weapons. And once you get through, we're going to make great deals, we're going to build a wall, we're going to have smart people, you then have to have the second and third and fifth and 10th sentence backing it up, and Trump has never done that. No one could shore up a lack of policy knowledge at age 70, and certainly not Donald Trump. The way she could lose this debate is slugging insult for insult.
Crooked Hillary, crooked Hillary.
But she only made a couple of mistakes over the decades of her debate practice.
She's as crooked as they come.
She's always competent, bulletproof, answers the question, makes her points, is on message, and that's, I think, the implied message she has for becoming president. The presidential debates are in one chance that people get to see in real time, unscripted, the two candidates face to face, and you never really know what's going to happen. This year in particular, it's hard to imagine how this debate will not really matter.